River Road, you got me running way back home. River Road, you got me running all night long. You got me singing some canal boat song. River Road, you got me running all night long.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Niner Nuts. I'm Dan, here along with James. James, say hello.
What's up, Niner Nation?
And, we are finally in kickoff week. We need to first just have a little hurrah for that. We're finally at kickoff week from when you guys are watching this. In 2 days, the Kansas City Chiefs are hosting the Lions, and we are finally starting the 2023 season. But that's not what we're talking about, guys, because we're a Niners podcast, and literally we're taping this on Labor Day. Yes, we are working on Labor Day. Hopefully you weren't. But if you watched yesterday's episode, we saw a tweet from one Ian Rappaport. I read it live. You saw my live reaction yesterday, and I'm still in the emotional swirl of it. According to Ian Rappaport, as of 18 minutes ago, again, we're taping this on Labor Day, the 49ers and star edge Nick Bosa need a significant breakthrough to get him back on the field, which is from today, 6 days to play in Pittsburgh in week 1. This sucks. Okay, we were talking before about like when I was going to start to panic a little bit. I started to panic a little bit, but then that was the first preseason game, and then the second one went through, and then the third one went through, and now we're another week after this game, and I was doing okay during the 3 games. Like, I was a little, but literally nothing. They're keeping it pretty closed behind doors. What is the holdup in the negotiations? And then Albert Breer really didn't end up saying the news that he thought he did, or the media that spun with it kind of blew it way out of proportion. He was just reiterating exactly what the negotiations basically have been the entire time. Is he going to get $27.5 million and be at TJ Watt's rate, or is he going to surpass 31.5, basically get the 32 million and surpass Aaron Donald's? That's where we believe the negotiation hangup has been, is those roughly $4 million. So he ended up not really saying anything that was new, so to say. But yeah, now it's September 4th, and kickoff is in 2 days, or 2 days from when you're listening to this, and our game is in 6 days. The irrational fan is starting to come out now, and that side of me is saying, I don't earmuffs. I don't give a shit who caves. Someone's got to cave now. John's got to break out the checkbook, or Bosa's got to accept that he's getting TJ Watt money, or maybe even a little less. Like, someone's got to cave. This is not good that we are 6 days away. And apparently, according to Ian Rappaport, we're still very, very far apart, unless this is completely irrelevant in the next 48 hours when you're listening to this.
Come join the dark side, the side that is telling you that John Lynch is not a good GM. Like,
this is a bad episode in an otherwise really good regime. I'll finish your thought, but this has not yet tainted my whole experience of John Lynch for 7 years, but I'll let you have the floor.
It's a holdout with your best player. Good GMs do not let this happen. Good GMs get you signed early. If he was a good GM, he would have been talking to him through last season and would have figured out a way to get him signed by early offseason. That's what Howie Roseman did with Jalen Hurts. Once he started looking good, Howie started the talks, most definitely. I guarantee it. And by the time early offseason hit, he was signed. He was the highest paid player in the league, and everybody was happy. And then 5 minutes later, Lamar Jackson comes out. But who cares? He got paid. He got paid early. That's what good GMs do. They get ahead of the game. They don't drag their feet and let it end up being a holdout. This is bad. This is why he's not a good GM. And there's other reasons, but on this show, we're talking about Nick Bosa, and this mishandling of it is just another instance of why John is not a good GM, and then why in 2 years this is all going to blow up in everybody's faces.
This specific isolated situation is starting to get out of hand. Like I'm not throwing in the towel on my feelings towards him. I still, as a whole, he has done a phenomenal job with the players that hit. They really, really, really hit. And the fact that he was able to, Lady Luck played a part in a few of the picks, like Brock Purdy, and the fact that Jimmy probably realized that staying with the Niners and taking a pay cut was going to be better in the long run. In the short run, he was probably going to get a ring whether he played or not. He had a chance. That's what I'm saying this in that past tense. I have a good chance of getting a ring here. I'll just make a little less money than the $27 million I was making. I'll make $8 million no matter what. And then I may or may not get a ring, and then I'm going to get paid $30 million by somebody else. Like, that rationale played into John's favor. Brock Purdy, no one expected Brock Purdy to be that good. But the only holdout that we had that was remotely this bad was Robbie Gould, our kicker, which is, that's the little side of Gould that no one talks about, is that he thinks he plays very, very valuably back in the day. I mean, he's getting the hard truth of what happens when you hit 40 and try to command $5 million for kicking. But, this is just, it's really alarming that this is going on as long as it has. And I'm not going to say that Javon Hargrave threw this all off. I commend that. I commend that he was able to pull off a signing like Javon Hargrave, so we didn't have to worry about Kinlaw in the middle. And then in theory, I get where he was going. Like, Bosa, we'll figure it out with Bosa, and then we'll have this amazing line where on this side, it's either going to be our second round pick, Drake Jackson, or Sullen Farrell if we get him straightened out, drafted in the first round. If he can actually play first round, then we'll have Ark Armstead and Javon Kinlaw or Hargrave in the middle, and then Bosa, and we're going to have the scariest defensive line in the league outside of maybe Dallas or the Eagles. Like, we're going to, but now guess what? Now we don't know what the specific hangup is. We're speculating that it is the AAV. I don't personally think it's the AAV, because the AAV is just a number. I feel like there's some disconnect with how signing bonuses and guarantees. I feel like when this is all said and done, if it actually gets said and done soon, it's got to be something with him wanting like 100 million guaranteed, or maybe 110 or 15 guaranteed, like fully guaranteed money, because that's a big hang up when it comes to NFL contracts, and casual fans don't really think about it, is that guaranteed money is more important to a player than the AAV, because you don't get paid in the AAV. The way they structure bonuses and restructures to mitigate the cap hit. So I feel like it's got to be something with a down the line cap hit. I can't imagine that Bosa is asking for a bigger cap hit than what he's already scheduled to have right now at 17.5 million from what I saw last. I feel like it's got to be like making sure that he is getting this whatever guaranteed money he wants down the line that John is not budging on, or not figuring out a way to structure a signing bonus or an option bonus. There's some disconnect. It's got to be something like that. Or maybe it's a combination of, okay, I'll throw you a bone and have a $10 million salary this year, but then the next year, like, that's going up to like 25. And then I have a $15 million signing bonus, and then another 10 million signing bonus. Like, it's got to be something like that. Like, I don't know. Is any of that like processing with you? I don't know if you're a salary nerd like I am. I really like going on Sports Trek and looking at them.
No. All I know is that Nick Bosa should be the highest paid defensive player right now, and he's not. That's what this is about. He needs, like, that's what it is. A guy like Nick Bosa, who, just won Defensive Player of the Year and has been a game wrecker for you basically out of the box, should be the highest paid defensive player in the game without question. So it's just a matter of how much is going to satisfy Nick Bosa? Like, what part of the number does he need to see to be the highest paid player? How much over it? Does it need to be 1 million? Does it need to be 2 million? Does it need to be 3? Does it need to be 4? Does it need to be 5? Does it need to be 10? Whatever it is, you got to figure out what it is and just do it. Like, that's what it takes. That's what Howie Roseman would have done. He would have figured out, okay, you're obviously the best defensive player in the league. You just won Defensive Player of the Year. We want to make you the highest paid defensive player in the whole entire game. Tell us what number is 5 million above, whatever total guarantee is. Is that good enough for you? That's all it needs to be. You figure out the cap hits or whatever, however you want to do it. Like, whatever the cap hits, like, good GMs would be like, oh yeah, I got that covered. Like, we're talking about guaranteed money. That's what we're talking about. And how much of guaranteed money does Nick Bosa need to feel like he is the highest paid defensive player in the league? Because that is what he wants. That is what he should get. And the fact that John hasn't seen it or done it, he's a bad GM for letting it get this far.
That's the thing, is that allegedly I'm taking it with a grain of salt, but only so much of a grain of salt, is that it's like $110 million was the number I saw. But that would make sense because if I remember right, Aaron Donald was after they won the Super Bowl, I believe it was a 3-year. It wasn't like an extension in the traditional sense. It basically was some extra money on top of the contract he already had, and then $95 million in total with this add-on was guaranteed. So he has $95 million guaranteed. So Nick Bosa, if he wants to be the highest paid non-quarterback in the league, which is what Nick Bosa, which is what Donald is. Donald is the highest paid player in the league right now. That's not a quarterback. So 8% or 5% off of that, that's definitely over $100 million. That's got to be a big hang up on it. Because again, it's not about the AAV, because you never split a contract like that. John has not figured out a way to satisfy Nick Bosa with structure of bonuses or option bonuses. You don't
even need to get that
the actual signing, like upfront guaranteed at signing money. Like, he's not figured out a way to, if it is all about $100 million, just work with your guys to figure out work with Jed and your mathematicians to figure out how to safely get him $100 million and just get him to sign it. Because I don't know, the way that it is set up right now, we are going to the same destination that the Saints and the Rams are. We're just hoping that we can get a ring like the Rams did and not completely whiff like the Saints do. Like, if that's the direction we're going, just get him signed.
That's what
and
you
then
need.
We'll deal with it.
Yes, that's what you need. You need your best defensive player on the field by week 1. He needs to be the highest defensive player in the league, paid player in the defensive, highest paid defensive player in the league.
I get that he wants to be safe and think about the future. I get that he wants to mitigate the
bleep
damage.
Bleep that out. Just so you know. Just
okay.
Make sure you get that. Okay.
Okay, I'll find that. I get that he wants to mitigate the future so it doesn't implode on itself like the Saints and the Rams to a degree have. But
that's his own fault. That's his
when
own
you're
fault.
attacking, you can't have your cake and eat it too. That's
exactly.
That's the problem.
He's got
if we have money to pay Nick Bosa right now, and then we got to let go of some more players, then he's got to know that we're losing some people. We're not having Juwan Jennings next year. We're not having Brandon Ayuk next year. We're probably not going to have Arik Armstead next year. We're probably not going to have Dre Greenlaw next year. We're probably not going to have Deshaun Gibson next year. We're going to lose a lot of players next year. That's why this year is so important.
That's why everything is so important for this year. Because once we get to next year, boy, is this team going to be gutted. And
the only silver lining is that we'll still have Purdy. That's the only silver lining we have next year, is that we'll have Purdy, we'll have Warner, we have Kittle, we'll have Williams, we'll have CMC. if you weren't any of those 6 players I said, there's a very strong chance you're going to get like released or traded.
Yeah. And John did it all to himself. And now he's trying to figure it out on the fly, and it's not working. John, if you want a championship, if you want to be a GM with a championship, you need to do this, and you need to do this now. I'm sorry, John. I'm one of your biggest haters, and I am an Eagles fan. I get it. But I'm telling you, you and I both know, John, because I know you listen to this podcast, that Howie Roseman plays chess while you play checkers.
Dude, think about it like this. Jed York has so much trust in him, and I still have a lot of trust in him. This is an alarming situation, but I have a lot of trust in him. This is a general manager that when he first got here, it was a blank checkbook. We had so much cap space. And in the last 2 years alone, the draft capital he sacrificed and the money that he's managed to figure out signing people to, Warner's contract, Trent Williams, his trade and contract, George Kittle's contract, Deebo Samuel's contract. We got away with Christian's contract because the Panthers took a lot of it, really, if you look at it.
But he gave up a lot of draft capital to have them take it.
The insane amount of draft capital. If this guy, if John Lynch, on top of all of that, also didn't care about your or my perception of how he would look, trading Trey Lance for just a 4th round pick, which I'll take his word at it that that was the best offer that we could get.
Bleep it out, because that's how I feel about people who say you could only get a 4th round pick for Trey Lance. Like,
allegedly, Jerry Jones did that trade on his own without telling Mike McCarthy or his son about it, which is hysterical to me.
Yeah, I mean, Jerry beats to his own drummer, but trust me, you can get Jerry to overpay, or at least give up some of that if you take some of the money. And that's what you need. You need draft capital. You don't have a lot of high draft picks.
But this isn't about the draft capital. The getting back to what I was saying was that with how amazingly he got all these players signed and was willing to throw out this much draft capital. Yes, this is the best player that he, outside of Trent Williams, this is the best player that he is trying to get under contract. I would say Bosa is better than everybody that we've gotten a bigger contract for, except maybe Trent Williams, but that's apples and oranges, an edge rusher versus a tackle. But it's amazing to me that he has gotten all of these things done, but signing the defensive player of the year is this is the hiccup where it's at. He went so hard for Trent Williams and Christian McCaffrey and got it done with Deebo at the last second. He was able to finally get it done with Deebo, and he went under the market value. Maybe he's waiting for Bosa to cave and go under the market value, because Deebo didn't get top. I think Deebo's in the top 10, but he didn't get paid top 5 money.
Well, that's the thing. Deebo had one good season. Nick Bosa has a string of great seasons.
His only down year was a torn ACL.
Exactly. Exactly. So you need to pay the man before he starts asking for a trade, because we're almost there. I believe we are almost there. If he doesn't get this deal done soon, he's going to ask for a trade, and there goes your window.
Well, where would he want to get? Well, here's a fun hypothetical. Where would he want to get traded to when we have a great chance of getting to a Super Bowl? You got to think of how bad is that team that would have the money that he's asking for? Because I don't think many other contenders have the money that he's asking for. The Chiefs definitely don't. The Bills definitely don't.
Maybe the Lions don't. The Lions have some cap space.
That's a good question. Maybe the Lions do. I don't know. That's a good question.
I mean, just imagine their defensive line with Nick Bosa on it, because they
Hutchinson on one side and Bosa on the other. Oh my God. That'd be terrifying.
That'd be terrifying. Their odds to win the Super Bowl would really go up if Nick Bosa ended up on their team. And, I believe they got some draft capital with the trade from what they traded from 6 to 12. So they may have, I don't know their picks or whatever, what they got, but they may have some draft capital to spend on somebody like Nick Bosa, and get him signed to a contract. Nick Bosa and Aiden Hutchinson for like the next 3 years. Could you imagine that? Like, are you looking up the numbers?
No, I know your phone would have gone off, but I just wanted to check Twitter anyway, just because Ian, yeah, no, there's no update. I know your watch would have blown up. My watch doesn't have the Twitter updates on it, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I am getting a little like irrational fan emotional about this because this is really frustrating now. Like hey James, we found my tipping point. 2 days away from kickoff is where I'm starting to get a little mad.
See,
this is ridiculous now.
I was on this train weeks and weeks ago, and you know, and I'm going to be on this train until something different happens. But
if his contract now, like this is going to be worth examining every penny of this contract, regardless of what the numbers are now. Because like if he signed forever ago, like it would have been a pleasant, oh, he took less money, or oh wow, John did give him that much money. Like now, no matter what he signs for, it's gonna be Jesus Christ. This is why this took 5 months. Like,
yes, that's
no
what
matter what the money is now.
Yes, that's what it's gonna be. And so yeah, I mean, I could talk about how John is a bad GM all day, but maybe you want to talk about
this one hang up is aggravating, but we don't have more time to talk about it. But yeah, this one hang up is getting really, really irritating.
Definitely.
When we have a quarterback that's playing for $700,000, he's getting paid $700,000, and we can't pay Nick Bosa. This is
ridiculous.
Okay. Anyway, I interrupted you. What were you saying?
Oh, I was going to say, tell us about our sponsor.
Oh, yes. Something I am a little bit more excited to talk about. Royal Retro Jerseys. We have a partnership with Royal Retro Jerseys. They will hook you up with your choice of authentic throwback jerseys. They have football, basketball, baseball. I tripped over my own words. They have every sport, basically. And you can stand out in the crowd. You can reminisce back on your team's glory days, so to say. Jets fans, if Aaron Rodgers doesn't work out, you can go to Royal Retros right now and find yourself an authentic throwback jersey and get 10% off your entire order with the code below me, Shady Sports. Use that at checkout, get 10% off your entire order, and get yourself an authentic Royal Retros throwback jersey today. That's Shady Sports for 10% off your order.
Yes, guys, 10% off your order. Sorry, something dinged, and I was like, "What? What's going on?"
Nick Bosa signed?
Yes, I'm looking at my watch. Did Nick Bosa sign?
Oh, so, bro, how great would that be?
I know. 30 minutes later, he signed. Anyway, guys,
it is 5:00 in California.
Anyway, guys, just so you know, we've taken on a cause here. Recently in the news, we've had the Minority Texans owner and our own owner, Jed York, in the news for some really bad stuff, especially with the Houston Texans minority owners. The NFL knew about it for months to years on both these guys and didn't report it until independent reporting agencies broke the story. And then we find out how long the NFL actually knew. So we need to bring some owner accountability, because if a player were to get in this type of trouble, we know about it. As soon as the NFL knew about it, we would know about it. So we need to bring more owner accountability. And that's why owner standards are less than player standards. Hashtag owner accountability. Make that go viral on Twitter, TikTok, whatever you need. And just because we put our money where our mouth is, we are raising money for a crisis center in Kentucky by selling our merchandise. All the proceeds go to charity. We have a bunch of different shirts. This is the standard shirt, which, you know, if you want to actually have the statement on your chest, you can get it for $22.99. You can get it in long sleeve tees, pullover hoodie, crew neck sweatshirt, premium unisex tee. This is our owners on a standoff. The reason why we are talking about this probably is because of the guy in the middle. Dan Snyder had it on a blackmail PowerPoint, and he's starting to cause trouble, even though he's still out of the league. So you can get that shirt. We're bringing that back from the Dan Snyder campaign. We have our podcast art logo. Like I said, long sleeve tee, crew necks, pullover hoodies. You can get it on whatever you want. This is our alternate logo with the nice background, so it just fits nicely as a tee. And we have our official mascot. Now, this is really, honestly, my opinion, the coolest t-shirt that we have. I have one. Dan's about to get one. And it's our mascot. Look at that cute little peanut. $22.99, and you're donating to charity, and you're getting a great t-shirt.
That peanut is too cute to say no to, and we're not even profiting off it, guys. We don't want the money from this. We want to donate this money and give it to charity. There's some things that are bigger than football. We've interviewed charities here on the show, and we've interviewed a lot of not-for-profits here on the show, I should say. And because as fun as football is, and the community that it makes, and what football teams typically give to their communities, we all know and agree that there are some things that are bigger than football, and this is definitely one of them that we're passionate about, and we just want to give back and just bring awareness to this little bit of hypocrisy. So
that's right, guys. Until the NFL starts actually reporting on owners when they know about it, we're going to continue this campaign. If it continues, we'll keep going. We're not in this all for the money. We want to be a part of our community. We want to make a difference in our community. So if we have to sell these shirts and give them to charity, we're perfectly happy with that. That's fine with us, guys, because this really is a hobby for us. We're not out there trying to make this our full-time job or anything. We are just two guys who are best buds who love talking about football. We're not looking to make millions of dollars off of advertising or anything like that. We just want to make a difference in the community. Yeah, the 10% off Shady Sports gets you a little bit, but that's a little bit of money. And if you want one of our cool t-shirts, you can just go to bonfire.com, Niner Nuts Apparel, bonfire.com.
Yeah, use that money that you save from retros and go to Bonfire, I guess.
Exactly. That sounds like a good idea. So anyway, Dan, you got anything else for us?
No, the only I'll be honest, I don't care what's on Roto World. I want to know when we're going to sign Nick Bosa, which apparently is not going to be today, according to Ian Rappaport. That's all I care about today.
Well, guys, you know what's coming next. Outro music, River Road, Justin Muth.
Beat the Steelers. See you Friday.
River Road, you got me running way back home. River Road, you got me running all night long. You got me singing some canal boat song. River Road, you got me running.